What's good, world? I might be back with another reaction video. Appreciate everybody that does tune in. If you're new here, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you ain't new here, make sure you tell somebody else to hit the subscribe button. So maybe, just maybe, we can get this channel bumping. My bad. I still got the, whoo. Anyway, appreciate everybody. Jumping straight into it. Obviously, new fights just announced. Dana White put him out there on his live like he's doing nowadays. I'm hyped. I know y'all probably are too, obviously. That's why I'm out here. That's why I'm doing the video, right? That's why I'm out here. So, basically, just to sum it all up, Islam isn't even going to be in the picture anymore, which, personally, I feel like was the best option for Ilia anyway. Again, I kept saying it. And if Islam did stay in the division, and Ilia and Islam did fight, and Ilia lost, it only would have put Ilia's career in a backwards position. But since that didn't happen, and now it's not going to probably happen, at least right now, Islam has now vacated the belt, the lightweight belt. Excuse me, I just finished a beer. He just finished the lightweight. He just vacated the lightweight belt, and now he wants to move up to welterweight to fight Jack Maddalena. Speaking of Jack Maddalena, I wanted to get into this. Terrible weekend for Bilal. Terrible weekend. Let me do this. I bet I got my script here. Basically, I wanted to say first is Bilal Muhammad. I knew this was literally gonna happen to you, and he tried to go out there and he tried to do this for the fans, and he ended up taking a loss. This is literally what happens when you go out there and you want to be the best, and you don't try to use your mind in the fight, and you don't actually take into consideration what you're best at and what your strongest attributes are. Again, which is why I say the strongest minds will always defend the longest. That's what I believe Usman, Kamaru Usman, was trying to tell Bilal. But instead of choosing to listen and instead of trying to find meaning in what Usman was saying, he was choosing to be cocky. And I'm not trying to say Kamaru's like the best in the world, but I'm just saying for somebody who just found that division, for somebody who just sold a lot of pay-per-views and stuff like that, Bilal took it as Kamaru was being a hater, but in reality, Bilal should have listened. Simply because not every champion goes on a streak the way Islam. Not every champion goes on a streak the way Usman did. He took it the way he wanted to take it, basically. He was able to pull the pay-per-view numbers while doing it, while talking his shit, while being able to be himself, and going out there to feel like the big dog. You know what I'm saying? It's like a weird thing when you're the champion. It's like if you want to actually have a good title run, you have to choose your opponents wisely at the right timings. And I feel like that's the thing that happens with most champions. They always do that. And if you don't believe me, you can literally go back and look back at history. It's every champion fights a fighter at a certain time when they go on streaks, and usually at the time is either before the person was actually that good or experienced, or when it comes time to actually fight them, they're not there no more. Basically, what I'm trying to say is even though I don't like the way Kamaru decided to defend his championship and do a lot of rematches and stuff like that. Sorry, I live in the ghetto. I still feel like he has the knowledge to know what it takes to go out there and do to make money, what it takes to go out there to do to put your name out there, and what it takes to defend. Every time you go out there, you defend. No, anything can happen, and even if you're choosing an unmatched opponent, anything can happen. Anyway, jumping back on track. Where was I? Usman was basically just telling him that he needed to defend the belt wisely, and Bilal suggested that, like, what the fuck would he know, because, he lost his belt. But whether you choose the big pay-per-view fights, like I was saying, or just an opponent you outmatch, or even going into a match with a correct game plan, those are all options and all things that it takes for a title run. You know what I'm saying? For a correct title run. That's literally what every person that's been on a title run goes, like, they at some point reach in order to get that long streak. And basically what I'm leading myself is we're going through a time right now where champions are just looking to get the belt, and then once they do get the belt, it's like they ain't willing to dig that deep anymore. They're not willing to go to those places to defend it. They're only willing to call themselves champion, and they're happy to call themselves champions, which is getting out of hand because the belt, it needs to be defended. And if that's what makes it the best, um, and if that's what makes the best, then that's what we should stick to, because I feel like obviously that's what works. But I feel like once the fighter needs to know that, you know, you don't gotta go always to go out there to pick the easy fights and avoid fat fights. Avoid facts, definitely. Avoid fights until you like the matchup. But it's to plan correctly when you actually go in the fights. So I hope you guys understand what I'm saying. And Bilal, like I said, I literally called this last week. If Bilal goes in there and he tries to go for the takedowns in those last few rounds, he was going to lose. And I said that. And again, I was right on all of my picks for the main card except the Bilal one. And it's only because I was iffy on how Bilal was going to come in and how he was going to choose to fight. And I'm telling you that this only happens with champions because they just choose to do different stuff. At least with a fighter like Alex Pierre, you knew what he was going to do. And you knew what you're looking for. And you know what the other person's watching out for. And the whole fight just goes like that. But instead, Bilal decided to try something new and he ended up getting pieced up. Which leads me to this point. To get this belt shit now, I feel like champions are using it as like, oh, I'm a champion forever now that I've held it. It's getting played out. This is why Bilal lost. Also why is because Jack was super talented and I did not expect him to bring what he brought. He was super poised in the fight. Like how I'm saying mentally strong, like there was nothing in the way that could take this from him. He just knew exactly what he needed to do in order to take that belt home with him, and he was going to do that. And that's why I was actually, that night I became a Jack Maddalena fan. Win or loss, I'll be a fan of his due to the fact of how he was able to go in there and not make a name for himself, because he had a name before that. Obviously, I'm just a fan now. But he just went out there and was able to fight like a dog. And if he could do that there, which means even if Islam were to win, again, not saying he's going to, but even if Islam were to win, I'd still be a fan because, you know, he's a dog. He might make it back up there, and I got to give it to him. That was good. And especially with somebody like Bilal, who was so cocky and confident going into that, to go in there and take that from them, that's something. Got to give it to the Aussie boys. Now we got two of the Aussie champions. I might later do like a real fight breakdown on the actually no, I'm not even gonna do it. Jack went crazy. Jack put on a great fight. Jack won that belt with no hesitation involved. Moving on to the next situation we got here going on that Dana announced. Bam. Now to speak on the fights that Dana announced. Before I go crazy and talk about, you know, the Bilal and Jack fight forever and talk about why Bilal is a dumbass. Bilal losing basically changed the course of 2 divisions, possibly 3 divisions, depending on who's going to lead the division, to avoid Islam, which probably won't even know about. Everyone's plans, now instead of Islam versus Ilia fight, we have Ilia versus Charles, which this fight makes me hyped, obviously. But it gets the division moving again, and also lets us know that Ilia is going to be returning, which is just like the big things that I wanted to speak about. Charles finally gets another chance at the belt. And I feel like the key thing out of this that people aren't understanding is I'm sure Charles is so happy that he's going to get the chance to fight for the belt again without actually having to fight Islam for it. And if you know, then you know. But then you also know that Charles has just been avoiding Islam. He just, for some reason, he doesn't want to fight him. And he's literally said this multiple times. Chael's actually pointed this out. That's where I got this from. And he was actually right, because I seen it one time when Charles was in a car in an interview, and he kept like just fighting around the question of eventually fighting Islam. But nobody wants to talk about that, so here we go. I'll do it. I'm gonna do a better breakdown of this fight when it comes. I just wanted to talk about the fact that Ilia is gonna get a chance to be double champ, and I'm happy for him, even though Charles is not gonna be an easy fight, and I think we could all agree on that one. Moving on to the next fight that was announced. This one's gonna be a quick announcement, because again, I want to do an actual breakdown of this fight. I don't want to sit here talking about I don't want to do my whole breakdown now and then I won't be able to do it later. Y'all know what I mean. Y'all don't even give a fuck. Cause y'all half of y'all just watch the shorts. All right. We got Islam again. Islam's going up for double champion in the welterweight division. I still don't think that Islam and the Ilia fight is gone yet. Obviously, if Ilia won the belt and defended the belt twice, and Islam did the same thing and defended the belt twice, I'm sure a lot of people would be in for that super fight. But anyway, that's something we talk about later. What I did want to say is, Ilia, if Ilia can beat Charles, I think this is why. Not if he could beat him. Ilia's gonna beat Charles. Again, this is why I call him the legend killer. And I've been calling him that for a while, and I even told my friends, and they didn't believe me. And then he went and did that to Alex, and he did that to Max, and now we're gonna see. We're gonna see, because he's on a road. And now, if he takes out Charles, manages to take out a couple people like Justin and a couple people in the division, maybe even move up, take out Islam. Just saying, bro, because people don't really have these type of careers, you know. That's some UFC 5 type shit. I'm just saying, if he was to actually do that would be dope. But in reality, that's what I got for that fight. I'm gonna do a breakdown for that one. But not only that, we got Islam. I want to see this. This is actually a great fight now. Can Islam actually move up and beat Jack? Maybe defend it. Something Khabib was never able to truly do. Be a real problem in the division, 2 divisions. Y'all let me know, because I think Islam can. I honestly think Islam's one of the best fighters in the world, and again, anything can happen. Anybody can get knocked out, but Islam is he's just a beast. I just give it to him. He's somebody you got to watch out for and never take a break, take your eyes off him, because he's going to go for the win in any which way he can, and if you slip up, you might get choked out. Anyways, y'all let me know on that one. Moving on to the last fight announced. I got actually a big take on this one. Boopity boo. I know this fight. Everybody's hyped for this fight. So now not only was that put into the future, but actually let me take a sip of this real quick. Now not only was that put in the future, but now we actually have a middleweight belt. Actually have the middleweight belt. We actually have the middleweight belt being put on the line again. We got the Drunken Master, Dricus Du Plessis, and the one we've been waiting for to literally fight for any belt at this point, because he's just any belt, because he's just a beast. Khamzat Chimaev. This fight here is going to be a banger for sure, and a lot of people probably have Chimaev winning, which is understandable, but hear me out on this one. The Drunken Master isn't any type of joke. He's a master at his form. And besides that, from what I heard, he likes being on the ground with men and being choked weirdly. So I think that's just another advantage for him, and that's going to be weirdly unpredictable for Chimaev when it gets to the ground game and it gets to the grappling. All I'm going to say is it's really going to have to be a 5-round fight. We already know how this is going to go. It's going to be to which one of them is going to get tired first. Obviously, we already know the fact that DDP is so unpredictable, and even though he gets tired towards the later rounds, so does Chimaev. Sorry, my nose is just like super itchy because these damn allergies. But the difference is DDP is more experienced. That's why I have him coming out as the winner. Just do. It's just what it is. I have him coming out as the winner that night. My pick might change, obviously, as the fight gets closer, when I see them actually get face-to-face and actually see who's ready when that fight night comes. But most likely it's probably not going to change. Leave a comment on this. I want to know who you guys got winning this fight, and what's your like predictions on this, because again, this is just what I think, and you know, I haven't been really wrong with my predictions, so I'm going to just stick to that road. And again, let me know. Oh, last thing before I leave here. I'm going to make this one quick. Then I got to go get a napkin so I can fucking clean my nose. Valentina wins the fight this weekend. And you know what gets me so mad is she complains that she's always on the undercard and she never gets the main event. She never gets to do all these things, and she wants to be and she has all the gems on her belt. You know, I seen her do the weigh-in and they were glistening and shit. But the problem is she gets the mic, gets the opportunity for a super fight with Wei Lee, and even though Even if she could beat Wei Lee, I think would be easy. It's a something. It's just something kicking. And you know, she could have heated that up real quick. Maybe got the fight kicking up, but instead she chooses to do nothing. Chooses to say nothing, all because she wants to be humble. I don't believe that. Honestly, I'm starting to think that these fighters just don't want competition. And when you literally have somebody calling your name, you should be saying, bring them on. You shouldn't be saying, oh, I'm going to be humble, I'm not going to call. No, anybody calls my name, I'm the champion, bring them on. That's why Islam said, right? If he can make 150, I'll fight him. If King Kong made 150, I'll fight him. And I feel like that's what Valentina needs to be saying to Wei Lee so we can actually get a super fight going. Appreciate you guys. Again, I'm dropping this video as one. Y'all let me know what you think. Appreciate y'all again. Check y'all out. Sheesh.